Most people believe their life is controlled by circumstances. They think success depends on luck, happiness depends on other people, and peace depends on everything going according to plan. But the truth is far different. The events that happen around you are only part of the story. The real story is written by the way you respond to those events. Two people can experience the exact same setback, yet one uses it as fuel to grow, while the other allows it to become a permanent excuse. The difference is not in the situation itself, but in the reaction that follows. Your response has the power to transform pain into strength, failure into wisdom, and obstacles into opportunities. Every day presents countless moments where you have a choice. Someone may criticize you, ignore you, disappoint you, or challenge your confidence. These moments arrive without warning, and your first emotional impulse may be to defend yourself, become angry, or give up. That initial feeling is natural, but it does not have to become your final decision. The moment you recognize that you have the ability to choose your response, you begin taking ownership of your life. Instead of becoming a victim of circumstances, you become the author of your future. Think about the people who inspire you. They are not admired because they avoided problems. They are respected because they handled adversity differently. While others complained, they searched for solutions. While others blamed, they accepted responsibility. While others focused on what they had lost, they concentrated on what they could still build. Their lives changed because their reactions changed. They understood that external events may be beyond their control, but their mindset never had to be. Negative reactions often create bigger problems than the original challenge. A single moment of uncontrolled anger can damage years of trust. A fearful decision can prevent opportunities that may never return. An emotional outburst can leave lasting consequences that no apology can fully erase. This is why emotional awareness is one of the greatest strengths you can develop. When you pause before reacting, you create space for wisdom to replace impulse. That brief moment allows you to ask yourself whether your response will improve the situation or make it worse. Life will continue to test your patience, your confidence, and your character. Difficult people will cross your path. Unexpected setbacks will interrupt your plans. Disappointments will arrive when you least expect them. None of these experiences have the authority to define you unless you allow them to shape your attitude. Every challenge contains two battles. The first is against the situation itself. The second is against your own emotional response. Winning the second battle often makes the first much easier to overcome. When you begin viewing every obstacle as an opportunity to strengthen your mindset, your perspective starts to shift. Failure becomes feedback instead of defeat. Criticism becomes information instead of an insult. Delays become preparation instead of punishment. Even mistakes become valuable lessons because you choose to learn instead of complain. This way of thinking builds resilience that cannot be shaken by temporary setbacks. Your reaction also influences the people around you. Calmness creates confidence in others. Patience encourages better communication. Self-control earns respect without demanding it. People naturally trust those who remain steady during uncertainty because emotional stability creates a sense of security. Whether you realize it or not, your response becomes an example that others observe. The way you handle pressure teaches people how to handle pressure themselves. Every morning offers a fresh opportunity to decide who will control your day. You can allow circumstances to dictate your emotions, or you can choose to approach every challenge with clarity, confidence, and purpose. That choice may seem small in a single moment, but repeated over weeks, months, and years, it shapes your habits, your character, your relationships, your achievements, and ultimately the direction of your entire life. Every powerful decision begins with a single moment of pause. Most people move through life reacting instantly to whatever happens around them. Someone says something offensive and they immediately fire back. A challenge appears and they instantly assume the worst. An unexpected setback occurs and frustration takes over before they have even had time to think clearly. These automatic reactions feel natural because they happen so quickly, but they often lead to unnecessary conflict, regret, and missed opportunities. The ability to pause before responding is one of the greatest forms of self-control you can ever develop because it allows wisdom to take the place of impulse. A pause may only last a few seconds, but those few seconds can completely change the outcome of a conversation, a relationship, or even an entire career. During that brief moment, your emotions begin to settle, your thoughts become clearer, and your perspective expands. Instead of seeing only the immediate problem, you begin to recognize the bigger picture. You stop asking, "How do I defend myself?" and start asking, "What is the best response?" That simple shift transforms the way you handle pressure and challenges. Many people believe that reacting quickly shows confidence or strength, but true strength is demonstrated through restraint. It takes far more discipline to remain calm than it does to lose control. Anyone can raise their voice when they feel attacked. Anyone can make emotional decisions in moments of anger or fear. Very few people possess the patience to stop, breathe, and think before they speak. That patience is not weakness. It is evidence of maturity and emotional intelligence. Imagine receiving harsh criticism after putting your heart into a project. Your first instinct might be to defend yourself or argue against every point being made. If you react immediately, your emotions will likely speak louder than your wisdom. But if you pause, you give yourself the opportunity to separate useful feedback from unnecessary negativity. You may discover valuable lessons hidden within the criticism that can help you improve. Even if the criticism is unfair, responding calmly preserves your dignity and demonstrates confidence that does not depend on someone else's opinion. The same principle applies to every area of life. Relationships become healthier when people choose understanding before judgment. Leaders earn respect when they respond thoughtfully instead of emotionally. Parents create stronger connections with their children when they listen before reacting. Friends build deeper trust when they choose compassion instead of assumption. A simple pause often prevents words that cannot be taken back and decisions that cannot easily be reversed. Your mind is constantly processing information, but emotions often demand immediate action. Fear says to run. Anger says to fight. Pride says to prove yourself. Anxiety says to expect the worst. These emotional signals are not enemies, but they should never become your decision makers. When you pause, you acknowledge your emotions without surrendering control to them. You allow reason, values, and long-term goals to guide your actions instead of temporary feelings. Every difficult situation offers an opportunity to practice this habit. The next time someone disappoints you, resist the urge to respond instantly. The next time frustration rises within you, take a slow breath before speaking. The next time life throws an unexpected obstacle in your path, remind yourself that immediate reactions rarely produce the best outcomes. Each pause strengthens your ability to remain calm under pressure and builds a mindset that values thoughtful action over emotional impulse. Over time, these small moments of self-control begin to shape your identity. You become known as someone who remains steady during chaos, someone who listens carefully before speaking, someone who thinks clearly even when emotions run high. People naturally trust individuals who demonstrate consistency because they know those people are guided by principles rather than impulses. The habit of pausing before responding gradually transforms the way you communicate, solve problems, make decisions, handle conflict, overcome adversity, build relationships, pursue opportunities, and navigate every challenge that life places before you. Every emotion you experience has a purpose. Fear, anger, sadness, excitement, frustration, joy, and even disappointment are not enemies trying to destroy your life. They are messages. They are signals pointing your attention towards something that matters. The problem begins when people mistake these signals for commands. They believe that because they feel angry, they must act on that anger. Because they feel afraid, they should avoid the challenge. Because they feel discouraged, they assume they should quit. This misunderstanding gives emotions far more authority than they deserve and often leads to choices that create lasting regret. Imagine driving a car and seeing a warning light appear on the dashboard. You would never panic and abandon the vehicle simply because a light came on. Instead, you would recognize that the signal is asking you to pay attention. You would inspect the situation, gather information, and decide on the best course of action. Your emotions work in exactly the same way. They are indicators, not dictators. They are designed to capture your attention, not to control your behavior. Fear often appears when you are about to do something meaningful. Starting a new business, speaking in front of an audience, asking for an opportunity, making a difficult decision, or stepping outside your comfort zone can all trigger fear. That feeling does not automatically mean you are making the wrong choice. Sometimes fear simply means you are growing. It means you are entering unfamiliar territory where learning and transformation can take place. If you obey fear every time it appears, your world becomes smaller, your confidence weakens, and your potential remains hidden behind the walls of comfort. Anger also carries valuable information. It may reveal that one of your values has been violated or that something important needs your attention. However, anger becomes destructive when it takes control of your actions. Words spoken in anger often leave wounds that last much longer than the emotion itself. Decisions made in moments of rage rarely reflect your highest values or your clearest thinking. When you learn to recognize anger without immediately acting on it, you gain the opportunity to respond with wisdom instead of impulse. Sadness has its own purpose as well. It reminds you that something meaningful has been lost or changed. It allows you to process difficult experiences and reconnect with what truly matters. Ignoring sadness completely can make emotional healing more difficult. But allowing sadness to convince you that your future holds no hope can be equally harmful. Feel the emotion, understand its message, and continue moving forward with courage. Even positive emotions require awareness. Excitement can inspire bold action, but unchecked excitement may also lead to impulsive decisions. Confidence is powerful, but overconfidence can cause you to ignore important details or underestimate challenges. Every emotion, whether pleasant or uncomfortable, becomes beneficial when balanced by thoughtful judgment and self-awareness. One of the greatest forms of emotional intelligence is learning to observe your emotions without becoming consumed by them. Instead of saying, "I am angry," begin to think, "I notice that I am feeling anger." This subtle shift creates distance between you and the emotion. You realize that the feeling is temporary. It is passing through your mind rather than defining your identity. The emotion becomes something you experience, not something you become. When difficult situations arise, your first emotional response is often automatic. You cannot always control which emotion appears first, but you can always influence what happens next. That space between feeling and action is where real personal power exists. In that moment, you can ask yourself whether your next decision will move you closer to the life you want or further away from it. You can choose patience instead of retaliation, curiosity instead of assumption, resilience instead of surrender, and purpose instead of impulse. The people who achieve lasting success are not those who never experience fear, frustration, or disappointment. They are the ones who refuse to let temporary emotions make permanent decisions. They understand that emotions rise and fall like waves, but values, vision, and character provide a steady foundation that remains strong regardless of changing circumstances. By treating emotions as valuable signals rather than unquestionable commands, you begin making decisions based on wisdom instead of impulse, creating a life shaped by intention, clarity, discipline, resilience, confidence, and unwavering self-control. Your inner peace is one of the most valuable things you will ever possess, yet it is also one of the easiest things to give away without realizing it. Every day, people unknowingly hand over their peace to strangers, coworkers, family members, social media comments, unexpected problems, and situations they cannot control. One negative remark can ruin an entire afternoon. One disappointing message can steal a night's sleep. One unfair opinion can make someone question their worth. The tragedy is not that these situations happen. The tragedy is that so many people allow temporary events to take permanent control of their emotional state. Peace is not something you find when life becomes perfect. It is something you create regardless of what is happening around you. If your happiness depends on everyone treating you fairly, agreeing with you, respecting you, and understanding your intentions, then your emotional well-being will always remain in someone else's hands. There will always be people who criticize you, misunderstand you, or disagree with your choices. There will always be unexpected delays, disappointments, and setbacks. Waiting for the world to become peaceful before you experience peace is a battle you can never win. Many people spend years trying to change other people instead of strengthening themselves. They want others to become kinder, more supportive, more patient, or more appreciative. While those desires are understandable, they place your emotional stability in circumstances you cannot control. The only person whose thoughts, actions, and attitude you truly have authority over is yourself. The moment you accept this truth, you stop wasting energy fighting battles that were never yours to fight. Protecting your inner peace begins with understanding that not every opinion deserves your attention. Every person views the world through the lens of their own experiences, beliefs, fears, and expectations. Someone else's criticism often reveals more about their perspective than it does about your value. If you allow every opinion to shape your confidence, your identity will constantly shift depending on who is speaking. Real confidence comes from knowing who you are, what you stand for, and where you are going, regardless of who approves or disapproves. There is incredible strength in choosing not to respond to unnecessary negativity. Silence is often misunderstood as weakness, but in reality, silence can be one of the greatest expressions of confidence. You do not have to defend yourself against every accusation. You do not have to win every argument. You do not have to convince every person to understand your intentions. Sometimes the most powerful response is no response at all. Walking away from conflict that serves no purpose is not surrender. It is wisdom. It is choosing your future over your ego. Your attention is like a spotlight. Wherever you direct it, energy begins to grow. If you constantly focus on criticism, resentment, and disappointment, those emotions become stronger. If you focus on gratitude, growth, and possibility, your mindset begins to transform. This does not mean ignoring problems or pretending challenges do not exist. It means refusing to let negativity become the center of your life. You acknowledge difficulties without allowing them to define your emotional state. Every morning, you have the opportunity to decide what deserves access to your mind. You can begin your day filling your thoughts with comparison, fear, and endless distractions, or you can choose thoughts that strengthen your purpose and confidence. The mind absorbs whatever you repeatedly feed it. Protecting your peace requires becoming intentional about the conversations you entertain, the media you consume, the environments you enter, and the people whose voices you allow to influence your thinking. Strong people understand that boundaries are not walls built to keep others out. They are healthy limits designed to protect what matters most. Sometimes protecting your peace means saying no without guilt. Sometimes it means limiting time with people who constantly drain your energy. Sometimes it means forgiving someone without allowing them to continue hurting you. Forgiveness frees your heart from carrying unnecessary weight, while boundaries protect your future from repeating the same pain. Life will always present situations capable of disturbing your peace, but those situations only gain lasting power when you give them permission to remain in your mind. Every moment spent replaying insults, reliving disappointments, or imagining arguments steals time that could be invested in becoming stronger, wiser, and more fulfilled. Your peace is too valuable to exchange for temporary anger, unnecessary conflict, or the opinions of people who neither understand your journey nor determine your future. Guard it with intention, strengthen it through daily discipline, and refuse to let anything outside of your values become the authority over your inner world. Pressure has a remarkable way of revealing who you truly are. When life is comfortable, almost anyone can appear confident, patient, and optimistic. It is easy to smile when everything is going according to plan. It is easy to believe in yourself when success comes naturally. It is easy to remain calm when there are no difficult decisions to make. But comfort never reveals the depth of your character. Pressure does. The moments that test your patience, your courage, and your determination are the moments that uncover what has been built within you. Think about how diamonds are formed. They are not created in comfort. They are formed under immense pressure over time. The same principle applies to personal growth. Every challenge you face has the potential to strengthen you if you choose to see it as training instead of punishment. Difficult situations are not always obstacles standing in your way. Many times, they are opportunities placed in your path to prepare you for greater responsibilities, bigger dreams, and stronger leadership. Most people try to escape pressure. The moment life becomes uncomfortable, they search for the fastest way back to safety. They avoid difficult conversations, postpone important decisions, and walk away from challenges that demand growth. While this may provide temporary relief, it also limits their potential. Every time you run from pressure, you also run from the person you are capable of becoming. Growth and comfort rarely exist in the same place. If you choose comfort every time, you will eventually become uncomfortable with your own limitations. Pressure has the ability to sharpen your focus. When distractions disappear and the stakes become higher, you begin discovering strengths you never knew you possessed. You become more creative when solutions are required. You become more disciplined when excuses are no longer an option. You become more resourceful because survival demands innovation. Some of the greatest breakthroughs in history were born during seasons of uncertainty rather than seasons of ease. Adversity has always been one of life's greatest teachers because it forces people to think differently and act with greater purpose. Every setback carries a lesson hidden beneath the surface. Failure teaches humility. Disappointment builds patience. Rejection develops resilience. Loss creates appreciation. Uncertainty strengthens faith in your ability to adapt. These lessons cannot be learned through comfort alone. They are earned through experience. While the pain of difficult moments is real, the wisdom they provide often becomes one of your greatest assets later in life. Looking back, many successful people recognize that the hardest seasons became the foundation for their greatest achievements. Your response to pressure determines whether it becomes a burden or a source of strength. Two people can face the exact same challenge and produce completely different outcomes. One sees only obstacles and reasons to quit. The other searches for lessons, opportunities, and ways to improve. The challenge itself remains the same. The difference lies in perspective. Your mindset influences how you interpret every difficult experience. When you begin asking, "What can this teach me?" instead of "Why is this happening to me?" you shift from helplessness to growth. Pressure also strengthens emotional discipline. It teaches you to remain calm when emotions are trying to take control. It encourages you to think before acting, to observe before judging, and to respond instead of reacting. These habits become valuable not only during difficult moments, but in every area of your life. Strong relationships, effective leadership, wise decision-making, and lasting success all require the ability to remain composed under stress. Emotional stability is not developed when everything is easy. It is built one difficult moment at a time. There will always be seasons when life feels overwhelming. Plans will fail. People will disappoint you. Unexpected obstacles will interrupt your progress. During those moments, it is easy to believe that life is working against you, but often life is working on you. Every challenge is shaping qualities that success alone could never develop. Patience becomes stronger through waiting. Courage becomes stronger through fear. Confidence becomes stronger through action despite uncertainty. Resilience becomes stronger every time you refuse to quit after falling down. Instead of asking for a life without pressure, begin asking for the strength to grow through it. Every obstacle you overcome increases your capacity to handle greater responsibilities. Every difficult decision strengthens your ability to make wiser choices in the future. Every challenge that once seemed impossible eventually becomes evidence of how far you have come. Pressure does not arrive to destroy your potential. It arrives to reveal it, refine it, strengthen it, and prepare you for opportunities that require a level of character, discipline, confidence, resilience, wisdom, and emotional control that can only be developed through adversity. The greatest victory you will ever achieve is not over another person, a competitor, or a difficult circumstance. The greatest victory is over yourself. Many people spend years trying to control everything around them. They want perfect conditions before they feel confident. They want other people to change before they become happy. They want life to become easier before they decide to give their best. Yet real transformation begins the moment you stop trying to master the world and start mastering your own mind, emotions, habits, and decisions. The person you become is always more important than the circumstances you face. Self-mastery is not about becoming emotionless or pretending that challenges do not affect you. It is about developing the ability to stay true to your values regardless of what is happening around you. Anyone can stay positive when life is easy. Anyone can be patient when nothing is testing them. But true discipline is revealed when pressure increases. It is choosing kindness when anger feels easier. It is choosing focus when distractions surround you. It is choosing courage when fear whispers that you should quit. Every one of these choices strengthens your character and builds the foundation for lasting success. Your daily habits reveal the level of control you have over yourself. Small decisions often appear insignificant in the moment, but they shape your future one day at a time. Choosing to wake up with purpose instead of procrastination. Choosing to keep your promises even when motivation fades. Choosing to continue learning when others settle for comfort. These seemingly ordinary actions create extraordinary results because they develop consistency. Success is rarely built through one dramatic moment. It is built through disciplined actions repeated long after excitement has disappeared. The quality of your decisions determines the quality of your life. Emotional reactions often produce short-term satisfaction but long-term consequences. Wise decisions require patience, reflection, and the willingness to think beyond the present moment. Before making an important choice, ask yourself whether it moves you closer to the person you want to become. Temporary pleasure should never replace lasting purpose. Every decision is a vote for the future you are creating. The more intentional your choices become, the more intentional your life becomes. Pastoring yourself also transforms the way you build relationships. People naturally trust individuals who remain calm under pressure, communicate with respect, and take responsibility for their actions. Strong relationships are not built through perfection, but through consistency, honesty, and emotional maturity. When you control your reactions, you create an environment where understanding grows instead of conflict. You begin listening more carefully, speaking more thoughtfully, and responding with greater compassion. These qualities strengthen friendships, families, and professional connections because people feel safe around someone who is emotionally steady. Influence does not come from titles, wealth, or popularity alone. It comes from the example you set every day. Others pay attention to how you handle disappointment, criticism, failure, and success. They notice whether you remain humble during victories and resilient during setbacks. Your actions often inspire more than your words ever could. When people see someone who remains focused despite obstacles, they begin believing that they can do the same. Leadership begins with leading yourself before attempting to lead anyone else. One of the greatest enemies of self-mastery is the search for excuses. It is easy to blame circumstances, other people, or bad luck when progress feels slow. While external challenges are real, they should never become permanent explanations for why you stop growing. Taking responsibility does not mean blaming yourself for everything that happens. It means accepting ownership of your response and refusing to surrender your future to factors beyond your control. Responsibility gives you power because it shifts your attention toward actions you can actually take. Every day offers countless opportunities to strengthen your discipline. Each temptation you resist makes you stronger. Each difficult conversation you handle with patience builds confidence. Each setback you overcome increases your resilience. Every time you choose progress instead of comfort, you reshape your identity. Over time, these repeated decisions become habits. Habits become character, and character becomes the force that guides every area of your life. Lasting success is never the result of talent alone. Talent may open a door, but discipline keeps it open. Intelligence may create opportunities, but emotional control allows you to make the most of them. Ambition may inspire you to begin, but self-mastery gives you the endurance to continue when the journey becomes difficult. The person who learns to control their thoughts, emotions, actions, and habits gains something far more valuable than temporary achievement. They gain the ability to create success repeatedly, build meaningful relationships, inspire confidence in others, overcome adversity with resilience, make wise decisions under pressure, remain focused through uncertainty, and shape a life defined by purpose instead of impulse.